Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are completing the third round of the My Favorite WWF LJN tournament. And just to confirm, yes, we are on round 3, part 10 of the tournament. So generally, yeah, you know all my videos. I film all of my videos ahead of time, so it's not like any of these videos are any different. But what is this video? This video is going to be posted on Thursday. So for me, like today's Monday for me, but on Wednesday, I am going to have cross-linking. So I am going to have surgery done on my right eye. And it's basically going to be the same thing that I had done back in June on my left eye. It's not like LASIK or anything like that. It's not going to be correcting my vision. It's supposed to keep the eye. It's supposed to keep my vision from deteriorating any worse. I've been saying it for years. Well, I've been saying it on my channel for probably the last couple of years that basically when I look at things, and I could wear glasses, it doesn't matter. I could have glasses, or I could look at it without glasses. It don't wearing glasses doesn't do anything for me. So it does. So LASIK isn't going to improve anything. Wearing glasses isn't going to improve anything. So it's my vision is where it's at now. I had LASIK back in the Army in 2010, and whatever they did, they really screwed me big time. My vision before was, I don't want to say perfect, but it was fine. I had glasses, sure, but I could always see without glasses just fine. Glasses, all they did was, make words and letters a little bit bigger. But my vision without glasses was, like I said, it was fine. I could see almost perfect without them. Not a big deal. But over the last several years, like person could be standing like literally right in front of me, and I could make them out and everything, but everything is basically a complete blur nowadays. So the vision nowadays, as I've talked about, it's not to improve my vision. It's basically to keep it exactly where it is so it doesn't get any worse. So that's basically what cross-linking is. So I'm going to have that on the right eye on Wednesday. So I have to make a few videos ahead of time, and I'm going to have those videos in queue. I'm going to have them scheduled. I know a lot of guys aren't happy when I do that, getting videos scheduled, because they're clicking on videos and they can't watch them right away. But depending on how I'm feeling, I may not be in the mood to be filming videos or getting them prepped to be posted. So I want to have them ready for you guys, so when the time comes they can be viewed. So other than that, I don't have a whole lot to discuss. This is the 10th and final video of round 3. Generally, I've been making about 12 videos for every section of the room I've been filming in. This is only the 10th video I filmed in this general location, but starting in round 4, I am going to move over to the main original LJN wall. And since round 4 is only going to be 5 videos, round 5 is either going to be 2 or 3 videos. So let's say 2 videos, 7 videos, and then round 6 and 7 will probably only be 1 video apiece. So I'm just gonna use rounds 4, 5, and 6 for that wall, and I'm not gonna move from there. So the last 3 rounds will be that backdrop, and that'll be fine. Other than that, that will take care of. So I'm going to make probably a couple more videos. I'll probably make 2 videos today, and that's going to knock out Thursday and Friday. Where am I at? Now, I've got Wednesday's video in queue. This will knock out Thursday's video for... Yeah, this will knock out Thursday's video. And if I make one more video, I'll have a video for Friday, and that'll be 4-1. And by Saturday, hopefully I'll be healthy enough to have a video made to post on Saturday. So anyways, let's knock out today's matchup. The last, Kane Stud. I like that figure a lot, and I'm interested in, I kind of know where I'm going to go with this one, so I'm not excited about this matchup. Kane Stud versus Bundy. Steve Austin, Sheik. He will square off against Goldust. Another tough matchup. Pink Warrior will do battle against Shawn Michaels. That is a good battle. And the last matchup of round 3 is going to pin R&B Greg Valentine against Random Treasures Berserker. That might be the highlight matchup of this video. Alright, so let me go ahead and pull those figures and we'll begin momentarily. Alright. First matchup was Kane versus King Kong Bundy. And this is your first matchup. So we'll start with Kane. So oddly enough, I only have, 2 Kane figures? And you gotta imagine that you gotta think that Kane is one of the most premier wrestlers over the last 25, 30 years, right? And it's kind of funny that nobody's made a Isaac Yankem character, and yeah, I get it. Nobody really coveted Isaac Yankem, right? But still, there are a lot of characters that people really didn't covet, but they still made wrestling figures of that particular character. I mean, Mattel Retros has released an Isaac Yankem. Nobody cared about Duke the Dumpster Drosy. They sure in the heck didn't care about his gimmick. Grapplers and Gimmicks still released his action figure, so it doesn't matter that people don't care about a particular wrestler or they don't like their gimmick. There's still, I'm pretty sure that there have been people who probably have made particular wrestlers, customs, but I would like to see Isaac Yankem, but Kane in particular, I'm sure that I'd like to see more Jacobs Kane figures, and from John Ruggiero. I've got that Jacobs Kane figure where they kind of used what was it? It wasn't what was it? Was it Hillbilly Jim? It might have been Hillbilly Jim that they used. Yeah, it was Hillbilly Jim. It was a good figure. It was like the all red, right? With kind of like the black lines going down. And that's kind of like the more of the Kane that I'm familiar with. I love this particular look. And I think that Big John Studd in particular, with his respective build, I think is one of those looks that I actually think works better for Kane. Because with guys like Kane and Undertaker, when I think of them coming into the ring, I want to see them come in and just purely dominate in the ring, right? So when I hold a Big John Studd action figure, right, there is not a single LJN figure in the entire lineup of LJNs that when you hold it in your hand, based on weight, based on grip, that feels more of a dominating figure. So yeah, I think Stud is a perfect figure for to mold into a Kane custom. Now, I would have obviously liked if they had actually gotten rid of the beard. That's one thing. And I would have liked if they had made the hair jet black. But the overall look here is perfection. For what is it, third round now? For 3 rounds, I'm going to continue to ask this question. Let's say this Kane here goes up against original Big John Studd. I randomly draw those 2 names. They go up against each other. Hypothetically, King Kong Bundy loses this match, which I honestly have no idea right now. I'm just pondering ideas. I have to think ahead because, that's just how my mind works. And I've been wondering this for multiple rounds. Who am I going to choose? I like originality, right? But I love customs. I love the uniqueness and the freshness of the ideas. I love the color scheme. I love the fact that it is more color and detail to the figure that's eye-popping. Can I possibly put this figure over an original like Big John Studd? Knowing that Big John Studd is always a figure that makes it to at least the semifinals, would I have the ability to eliminate Big John Studd so early in competition? That's things that kind of keep me up at night on occasion. But first things first. He's also going up against one of my all-time favorite figures in King Kong Bundy. And I'm enjoying the fact that Bundy is not a figure that I have to sit there and look at the way that these figures are situated on the shelves. In a random drawing, these figures are getting a legitimate opportunity to go extremely far in these tournaments. Now, at 320 plus figures, does the abundance or sheer quantity of figures, does that give these figures a greater opportunity for advancement, or does that hurt its chances? I mean, if there were like 120 figures, does that mean that he would have had a greater chance to advance to a third round, or does it mean that he had a better chance to advance to a third round because there were 320 figures? I don't know. I think that King Kong Bundy is one of those figures that I always would have said belongs in the 4th, 5th round. And the fact that I've never really had an opportunity to speak about him for a long periods of time because I don't know where he's ended up in the past. Maybe going up against guys like possibly Studd or whoever. I don't know where he ended up, but it's one of my all-time favorite pieces. And we go back to original figure, right? He may not have the color and detail that Studd has or the Kane figure has, but I will talk about Bundy the same way I talk about Big John Studd. Original piece. The bulkiness. He may not have the playability of a Big John Studd, but the enjoyment factor. Bundy and Greg Valentine had the enjoyment factor that I just really gravitated towards. And I think that is huge. I just can't do it in this matchup. Bundy had a hell of a run. 3 rounds in a tournament with 320 figures, I think was a hell of a run. I'm grateful to have been able to talk about this figure for 3 rounds, but Kane, this particular figure, I have to give this another opportunity to see what it can do. I mean, is this going to win this tournament? Again, I love this figure. It's a Big John Studd, right? And with this color scheme, hell yeah, this figure can potentially make it. I'm not saying it's going to win, but I am going to say it damn well has an opportunity to make it to the semifinals. And could it, if once it makes it to the bottom 5, anything could happen. So next matchup is going to be Steve Austin So Steve Austin takes on Goldust. The good thing about this matchup is that both figures are relatively evenly balanced. Goldust does have the upper hand, and he is a more colorful and I would say more balanced figure, because he does have the play pose of a Nikolai Volkov, which upgrade over that of an Iron Sheik, right? Bam. Goldust, I watched him as a kid. Dustin Rhodes, so I actually enjoyed Goldust more. Steve Austin as ringmaster, I mean, I was never really a fan. Not really. And by the time the whole Austin 316 and all those storylines happened, you know, around, what was that, 97, 98, that was around an era of wrestling when my interest in wrestling was really starting to waver. In fact, I think around 97 is really when I stopped caring about wrestling. If I was still watching wrestling, it was very limited. Like around 96, I started watching baseball. In 1997, I was really heavily invested in baseball. By 1998, I was obsessed with baseball. So by 1998, I was practically all in on baseball. Didn't even care about any other sport at that point. So yeah, I had watched Steve Austin, but like I was never invested in him at all. At least I could say again, at least I was interested in like the feud with Razor Ramon and Goldust and whatnot. So, and I always loved Marlena, so that was always something. I love this figure a lot. Again, Nikolai Volkov, right? The look of the Steve Austin is incredible. So Random Treasures, they've got their new Steve Austin figure out. And I thought it might be very comparable to like the Jakks Pacific figure. And I kind of looked at the Jakks figure and it's not. But the one thing about it, it's very Haku-ish with the way that the arms are way up there. I haven't bought that figure yet. Otherwise, I would have done a review a long time ago. I know eventually I will buy the Ram Treasures Steve Austin figure. But the way that those arms are situated, it's really keeping me from buying the figure. If it was a better play pose, I would have gotten it a long time ago. I mean, I might not be the biggest Iron Sheik fan, you know, play pose wise, but this is a splendid figure. And ever since I started doing this tournament, and hell, even prior to this tournament, even when I was doing my least favorite LJN tournament, and I was looking at the Iron Sheik figure, like even then I was like, you know what? Maybe I do like the Iron Sheik figure a little bit more than I was giving it credit for. You know, built-in beer can, the overall display of the vest. This is a fantastic piece. I think, what, 20, 25, 30 bucks? I mean, whatever I paid on this. The Iron Sheik with his bald head and everything, cartoony, right? Iron Sheik makes a beautiful freaking Steve Austin figure. I mean, these two figures are really neck and neck. I mean, they're with these two pieces, there really isn't a wrong answer. It's not like you've got like one figure that's like a 9.2 and another's like 7.8 or something like that. If one's a 9.2, maybe the other is like a 9.1 or something. That's literally how close they are to each other. You know, based on history, play pose, color, I think anyone that's watching at home would literally think that Goldust is the one that is really jumping out. I don't know. Something about the Steve Austin is really intriguing to me. And because I've been making so many out-of-the-box decisions this entire tournament, do I dare make another one? Yeah. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to stick with Steve Austin, and I'm intrigued actually to see if he not only makes it what he does in round 4, but I'm thinking that he might actually have a chance in round 5. So we'll see. All right, Pink Warrior taking on Shawn Michaels. You know, it's kind of funny that of all of your Series 6 Ultimate Warriors, either original Series 6 Warrior or all of the replicas, Series 6 or his custom figures, that the one that's like, I don't know, the most cartoony-ish, most childish, kind of with like the designs right, is the one figure that's gone the furthest. I still say that the original LJN Grand Toys Series 6 is probably the best, but that one didn't even make it out of the first round, losing to the Series 1 Hogan in the first matchup, or the first round. Um, but, yeah, what was the other one? The All-American colors, same color scheme that he had at Royal Rumble against Sergeant Slaughter. Now, obviously, the Rockers, they're kind of very similar to that of like Freddie Blassie in fighting pose, right? But, they're not too different from that of the Warrior. So it's similar enough. Again, I'd say more Freddie Blassie-ish, but Ultimate Warrior, easily one of the top 10 best LJNs. I normally say about the 7th best figure. I didn't think Shawn Michaels was actually still in this tournament. I thought Marty Jannetty was still in, and I think Marty was, if I'm not mistaken, I think Marty Jannetty was eliminated earlier in this round. But I thought Shawn Michaels was already gone. I thought Shawn was actually eliminated back in like round 1, maybe even or at the very least round 2. I didn't realize he was still in this tournament. So, seeing both Rockers actually make it this far, that's awesome. Their first introduction into my favorite LJN tournament, and they both made it as far as the 3rd round. And with 320 figures, I mean that's a pretty darn good run. I know I've been saying round 3 really is a meh, push for a lot of figures, especially if they're really good figures. But that's back when you had like 130 figures or so. But at 320, no. I think 3rd round or more is really got to be the new. It has to be like the new wave or the new line of great pushes. But then again, in a random drawing, there really can't be a threshold because, like I said, Hogan versus Warrior first round, right? What if Hogan lost that match? Are you going to say a Series 1 Hogan's a bad figure because he was a first round elimination? No. So there really can't be a threshold. I don't know if I remember correctly, but one of my oldest memories of these guys is Shawn Michaels immediately entering a Royal Rumble, jumping in, bam, hitting the Ultimate Warrior, turning around, hitting him, bam, sending him over the ropes. And Shawn Michaels being in that Royal Rumble for like 5 seconds. I kind of feel like I'm remembering that Rumble incorrectly. Like maybe Shawn was in that Rumble for a lot longer and he didn't just enter the Rumble. Like maybe he did hit the Warrior, and the Warrior did hit him and send him over the ropes, but that was at a different stage of the Rumble. But I know it was the Warrior who eliminated him, but it was just I gotta find what was that, like the 90, 92, 90, 1990 Royal Rumble, maybe, I don't know. I know which one I'm going to choose. I'm going to go with the Warrior. I mean, I can't beat a dead horse. I'm probably always going to go with the Warrior over most of these. Yeah. Even with the, I don't want to say inferior, but Warrior, I think this particular Warrior will always beat a majority of the customs or a majority of the LJNs. 25 minutes. I don't get it. A lot of these videos, man, I feel like I've been like shooting through them lately, and yet they're still going like 35, 40 minutes. I'm like, this is crazy. And I didn't even spend a lot of time talking in the beginning. Maybe like 5 or 6 minutes, but But I'm going to need this extra time because I don't know. I have no idea who I'm going to choose on this. Berserker versus Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine. If this was simply regular LJN Greg Valentine versus Berserker, and Greg Valentine was nothing more than black trunks, black boots, I still would not know who I would choose with this particular match. Because regular Greg Valentine has already been eliminated from this tournament. Okay. One Greg Valentine being eliminated does not necessarily mean that I can't get rid of his custom figure. If this is a better figure, this is a better figure. That's plain. It's as simple as that. You got to go with the best figure. Greg Valentine. I don't know, man. I know original Greg Valentine was like a 5th round figure in my first tournament. That's back when I had like 130 figures. Second time I did my tournament, original Valentine was a 1st round elimination. But he also lost to this figure, so that didn't count. Now, this figure went to the 5th round. And that's in the second tournament, I had like 200 figures, so he was still, it's just basically a Greg Valentine always makes it to the 5th round. And I think this figure might have been eliminated by Bruiser Brody, maybe. I think. I kind of feel like Bruiser Brody is usually the one guy among my collection that can pretty much eliminate pretty much everybody, obviously. But whenever you hear that somebody gets eliminated, it's usually the one figure that I think about. I'm not saying it was him, but I can't really recall. You guys already know how I feel about the Greg Valentine figure, so I'm not going to go into detail about play pose and how I've utilized the heck out of the figure and all that. But design-wise, so I kind of look at this figure and I think about Hasbro, right? And one of the designs that Hasbro was supposed to come out with is the Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine. He tagged with Honky Tonk Man, and this was one of those prototypes. I think they were supposed to come out in Series 3. I might have the year wrong or series wrong. But then Honky Tonk Man, and I think he left WWF or whatnot. And so they disbanded the group. And Greg Valentine went back to blonde. He looked horrible with black hair. That was such a bad look. And I think he even said his own shoot videos. He did not know how to portray a Elvis Presley impersonator. So that whole gimmick just was very uncomfortable for him. But the tag team disbanded, so that they could not really give you a Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine. So when Hasbro came out with Series 3, they just gave you the regular Hammer Greg Valentine. Now, this would have been an amazing look. Now, I know a lot of people were fans of Greg Valentine, and they didn't mind that regular Series 3. For some folks, hey, that's like their favorite figure. Awesome. But it would have been awesome to have this particular piece, right? And whoever really owned that original prototype, I mean, that thing was probably worth how many tens of thousands of dollars, right? Now, a couple years ago or last year, when Mattel Retros came out with their new wave of Mattel Retros, and they got their Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine, fans or kids who wanted that particular figure finally got it. Which kind of sucked because I bought a Hasbro custom on an original Hasbro cardback, right? With a customized Series 3 Greg Valentine, right? And now I just got a regular custom figure, and now I can't really appreciate it as much because you got a real Mattel Retro. So now the custom is, like, in my opinion, not as valuable. But the overall look of this figure is amazing. And it would have been nice if one thing I would have liked about this is if the customizer had actually, like, found a way to, like, kind of like open up the hand or something. Kind of like, I don't know, found like a honky tonk man, kind of like open up the arm, because they did actually build on a jacket to this figure, right? They didn't just paint the body. They actually built on a literal jacket. So if they, like, cut off the arm, built on like a honky tonk man arm, built the jacket over the arm so that you couldn't really see, like, the stitch or however they would have attached the arm, and then been able to, like, attach an actual guitar and all that, that would have been freaking amazing. And then you could have had the actual attachment of the guitar. That would have made it so much. That would have gave it so much more of an improvement. And I said, look of the figure, paint scheme, play pose, and then the accessory. All of that plays into a role of making this elite figure. But this is so freaking good. Boots, I don't know about the boots. I mean, if there was, like, dual color boots, like maybe like black shoelaces or something, maybe if, like, the tongue of the boots were, like, black, maybe like the shoelaces were white or something, a little bit of offsetting of the boots instead of just plain white straight through, or black boots with with white shoelaces. Again, some kind of offset color. It would have made a huge difference. One straight color, that kind of hurts it, but overall quality, one of the best pieces, no doubt. It does not matter how absolutely perfect that figure is, though, because he is going against Berserker from Ram Treasures. Now, I was not fibbing or exaggerating by any stretch of the imagination when I did say that Berserker could have potentially been this tournament's winner when I did my review of this figure, and I stand by that notion. So, Hasbro Berserker with robe, one of the best darn accessories, right? Now, they do take a Hasbro Jim Duggan. The whole thumbs up kind of ruins the figure, but overall, play pose with the head mold and the little crown, right? Helmet. Basically, they pretty much took the exact same head from Hasbro, so that looks spectacular. I mean, it's a warlord, fighting pose and everything. Hands are up there a little bit too high, but that's still fine. He's an exceptionally tall character. I wanted a figure a little bit different than what everybody else was getting, so I went with the blue look instead of the brown robe. And do I regret it? No, not really. But I'm so used to the brown that every time I pick up this figure, I'm like, I always gotta kind of do like a double look, like I'm expecting brown, and it's when I get this blue, it's like you're not expecting that, right? But this is a perfect piece. The overloaded boots, man. I don't know. I want that Greg Valentine to push forward. And how do I say no to the Berserker? Now, the Berserker is not a better play pose than Greg Valentine. Greg Valentine has already lost 2 tournaments, and if Greg Valentine has already lost to Bruiser Brody, what if he goes up against Brody again? Berserker has not faced Bruiser Brody in the past. That's a good point right there. I might have actually been leaning towards Greg Valentine. In fact, I think I was about 75% of the way to choose Greg Valentine. But that point I just made, where if he's already lost to Bruiser Brody, there's a good chance he could lose again. And Berserker against his former teammate, Bruiser Brody, there is a good chance that he could potentially dethrone him. Let's say these 2 guys square off in the next round. Bruiser Brody against Berserker in the finals. Bruiser Brody might win. Bruiser Brody against Berserker in round 4. Different story. There's always that last bit of detail, last bit of information that could change your mind at the very last second. And I found a little niche that just was enough to alter my opinion. And for that, Berserker is going to find himself in round 4. Berserker defeats Greg Valentine to move on to the next round. Oh man, this was a tough video. All of these I'd say last 4 videos were nearly impossible. But guys, this does close out round 4. As always, thank you so much for watching. Really looking forward to doing round 3. I'm sorry. Closes out round 3. I'm really looking to starting round 4 with you guys. As always, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care, everybody.